Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Now, today we are going to be reviewing, or right now we're going to be reviewing Backlash. Just finished a few hours ago from tonight, May 9th, 2026. It was a good show. Surprisingly, didn't disappoint at all. There was maybe some things that were not as good, but we'll get into that. First match was Braun defeating Seth Rollins. Now, I was pretty surprised how long this match went. It went for 21 minutes, and the other matches did not go as long. It was the longest match. It was the only match that went over 20. But it honestly deserved it. It was probably the best match of the night. Now, the middle of the match did have some issues where they did miss some spots, which happens, and it didn't really hurt the match too much. They kind of just continued with the match like it didn't even happen. So it was a pretty good match in not having any botches. They just kept going, and Seth this is my opinion, but I did enjoy this match a little bit more than the Gunther match. But I do think that has a little bit to do with how WrestleMania was just set up, and the pacing made it feel like a little bit rushed, which just maybe not like many of the matches on WrestleMania, but that's why I think this match was just much better. And it did go longer than most of the matches at WrestleMania, and it's kind of surprising that a PLE that's just in May and just is supposed to be a follow-up to WrestleMania is a little bit more enjoyable to watch than WrestleMania. How the times have changed. It is weird because it's a small show, but it didn't feel at all like it was only a five match show. The next match was Trick Williams defeating Sami Zayn. He did retain the championship. Now, before the show, they did have like some really good promos with Trick talking about the whole gingerbread man incident, and it felt like a really good way to finish off this rivalry. I think hopefully this is it. This is probably the match I did not pay attention to the most, just because it felt kind of repetitive to their WrestleMania match. It was better, but it just feels like with Sami, he just feels so, I don't want to say the word boring, but that's the way it feels. He's just not connecting, and that's because I'm used to be a big Sami fan. I'm so big fan of him as a person. I just don't like the way he's being booked right now, and obviously that's not his fault. And the surprising part, of course, Lil Yachty come out. That's surprising, being sarcastic, because I feel like he's just going to be a main part of the show for a little bit. So Lil Yachty was there with Trick, and obviously with that, he did help him retain the championship. So it was a pretty good match. Fans weren't so into it, and I'm pretty sure it might be because of the whole gingerbread stuff. Still went pretty good, and this was the second match of the first hour. So the next match was Danhausen with his mystery partner versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. Now, nobody really knew who the surprise partner was going to be, and then once he came out, I feel like some people were a little bit disappointed. But then he started wrestling, and that's because Minihausen, the wrestler behind Minihausen, was someone who was a wrestler in the WWE before, El Torito, and now he wrestles as Mascarita Sangrada, and he did fight on did wrestle on some of the AAA shows. I think he was on the Worlds Collide show, and a lot of people realized once he was wrestling that it was actually a luchador under the mask. So it was a pretty good little reveal, and it was just a fun match. Danhausen and Minihausen defeated Miz and Kit. It was 11 minutes long. Surprising that it didn't go a little bit longer, but then again, it was just kind of like a comedy match. The whole intro was fun for like the whole reveal, so it's interesting, and we'll see now what's next for Danhausen. And then our next match, we did have Io and Asuka. So this match was really good. Now, it surprisingly was the second longest match of the night. It almost, defeated the main event by 15 seconds at 18 minutes and 30 seconds. But the match deserved it. It was a really fun match. Near the end, it was just, you just felt it like it was nearing the end, and you kind of didn't want it to. But Io did defeat Asuka, and there was a lot of "We Want Kyrie" chants at the beginning, and I was a little bit worried that it was just gonna kind of carry over the match, and no matter what Io and Asuka did, that nobody was really gonna pay attention, and they were just gonna expect Kyrie to come out. So I'm really glad that they did stop the chants. Not in any way against Kyrie, just in a way of respect to what's going on in the ring, and it was really good. Like, I feel like Asuka showed that she could still go. The only sad part now is, did seem like this was like a goodbye for Asuka, as after the match, Asuka did, like, I'd say basically break down in tears. So it was really interesting to then see that, because then Io and Asuka just hugged, and they were just cheering each other on, and it didn't feel like we are gonna see Asuka again. So we'll see how that goes. My favorite spot from this match was when Asuka was gonna hit the mist, and Io put up, I believe it was Wade Barrett's like notes, and there was like nothing on it. That was pretty funny. And next thing that happened after that match, we did have the huge historical breaking quote unquote announcement from John Cena, and I didn't know what it was going to be, and I was expecting maybe it to be something related to the whole Club WWE, which, I mean, at this point I don't mind to just get it over with and do it, but it wasn't. It was something completely different, and I don't know if it was a last minute change. And the reason I say that is because the whole promo felt very all over the place, and it usually isn't like that for John Cena. For someone who's just like one of the best promos, it kind of felt like he was a little like finding words here and there, and I was like, not like he wasn't like horrible, but it was just like I noticed that, and it made me wonder if it was like a change that was like not supposed to happen. But back to what he announced. He did announce the John Cena Classic, which is basically going to be a quote-unquote competition that showcases present stars against future stars. And the whole like basis of why he's bringing this up is that he loved the way that the tournament ended up showcasing the young stars, and how Saturday Night's main event from his retirement also had people like Sol Ruka, Oba Femi, and just Javon Evans, and just people that are the next future stars. They want to continue that. And part of that announcement was then the announcement of a new championship that will be a part of winning the John Cena Classic. Now, there wasn't much explanation on what the championship is, or like when it will be defended, if it's only during this John Cena Classic. Is it just one and then put away in somewhere in the closet like the Greatest Royal Rumble? So it's really interesting to see where this is going to go. But the fans weren't very like interested, I guess, into the whole announcement until the championship announcement, I feel. So I feel like most people don't really care for this. It's just going to be like, I guess, something nice to watch, and at least something to look forward to on TV than just the same matches. And there wasn't an announcement about when it's going to be either, so we'll see when that happens. And that was the announcement, and he then started he started calling out for the main event, and I wanted to just that's something that I did notice as well, was now this is the third show in a row that they do have John Cena announcing the main event. And it was like when they did it on night 1 of WrestleMania and night 2 of WrestleMania, it was like, well, it makes sense, he's the host. But now they did it at Backlash as well. So we'll see where this leads, and if they just continue doing that moving forward. And like I said, main event was next, and it was a really good match. Like I said, it continues the trend of tonight. Like, there's really no bad matches. It just was a good show. It wasn't nothing great. For some matches were great, but in totality, like, the show was good. But Roman did defeat Jacob, and this match was just a lot of Jacob trying to hit the Tongan Death Grip. He did get it like a couple of times throughout the match, and it was pretty like surprising, like how much how long he held it on, and then Roman would just somehow get out of it. Fatu did have some like nice callbacks to Umaga, which was cool. Umaga, one of my favorite wrestlers, and the spot that was really cool was when Jacob powerbombed Roman through the announce table. It was cool, but like the announce table just doesn't break as cool as before. But I mean, they had that spot, and then it did eventually lead to a spot where Jacob had removed the turnbuckle, and then had some back and forth. Roman did send Jacob into the turnbuckle, the exposed one, and then once he hit that, ran to the ropes and then hit him with the spear. 1, 2, 3. So Roman did retain. I don't know if Roman's going to continue coming out week to week, but he is still going to be champ. So we'll see how that goes. After the match, there was the post-match beatdown from Jacob. Continued to hit the tongue and death grip on Roman. Very, like, just WWE 2K post-match beatdown type. And it was very just anticlimactic, I would say, just because it felt like something else was going to happen, but then it just ended. And the show ended with Jacob basically holding up the belt, holding up the championship, and the lights went out. All in all, I feel like it was a pretty good show post WrestleMania, excuse me, and it went a lot better than I expected. In total, I would probably say the show was 4 out of 5, just because I didn't enjoy the trick match as much as it could have. I feel like it could have been better. Also, I feel like maybe the main event could have been a little bit longer. I think it's just like your main event should always be the longest match if it's going to be pretty long. And I feel like they could have gone longer. They're two really good wrestlers, and who doesn't want to see Roman and Jacob go for much more longer? And I think in total, like, this was a lot better than WrestleMania for sure. Well, maybe not night 2, but for sure better than night 1. I'll give it, like I said, 4 out of 5. Please let me know how you guys felt about Backlash. Leave a like, subscribe, and peace.